I did it. I get so excited every single time that it works. Welcome, your backup plan tribe. I can't even talk today. Wow, it hasn't started off very well, has it? But hey, it's a good party. We're going to have this great party here with our wonderful guest today. So make sure everybody comes on to our live stream. Today is a wonderful show with a very wonderful guest from Greece. And I'm so happy to have her come on our show today. And our show's title is A Car Accident Makes You Realize How Precious Life Is. Is that not the truth? Yes, it is. So if you are a returning subscriber, thank you. And thank you so very much for coming on our show. If you are new to our podcast or our live stream, thank you for doing that. I'm so happy to have each and every one of you. My name is Tina Ginn. I am a podcaster. I am an emergency preparedness coach, a best-selling author of In the Blink of an Eye, and a financial expert, and of course, an app developer of Your Backup Plan app. And I'm located here in beautiful Vancouver, BC. It's an overcast day today, so we can't say it's sunny. And that's quite cool. So it's strange how on some parts of the country we have heat waves and the other parts are kind of chilly. So that's what the world is all about these days. Talking Taboo with Tina. Wow, that's quite the mouthful. And our live streams are periodically on our show, on our YouTube channel. So don't forget to check those out. We have, you can click on the subscribe button right down here and the like button and the bell. And I'm not going to sing for you today. I can't, but press that bell, press it so that you get notified of any shows coming up. Each week we share sometimes news, what's in the news, and real and raw conversations with our listeners about the guest's journey and a life-changing event. Yes, so many things have been life-changing. You know, your backup plan puts your life all in one place so that for any unpredictable circumstance, just like this one, a car accident, a truck accident, a cancer survivor, a stroke, a heart attack, COVID, floods, it's hurricane season coming up, tornadoes, earthquakes, theft, losing your wallet or your passport in another country. All of these things are unpredictable circumstances and sometimes life-changing events. And it only makes sense that you get better organized, be prepared for the unexpected, because you don't want to get prepared after the fact. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So thank you for coming out to our show today. One thing we do know is that storms are going to hit us in our lives, sometimes many, sometimes one, and you don't know when they're going to hit. So be prepared for the unexpected. I would like to welcome United States listeners, Canadian listeners. Thank you. We love you. Thank you for coming on our show. Thank you for watching and listening to our shows. I want to spread my thankfulness, I'm truly blessed. We're coming up to a year on our show this coming month, and I'm just very, very blessed with all of you, all of our guests, all of our wonderful listeners. Thank you so very much. And I need to thank my German listeners. They are the upcoming listener community. So meine deutsche Freunde sind unserem Podcast willkommen. Wenn Sie Kommentare haben, können Sie gern Fragen stellen. Also, danke für deine Freundschaft. So thank you very much. I can't speak English, and I apparently can't speak German today either. So it's going to be a fun show. So let's get this party started with our wonderful guest, and she's going to make me really say her name properly, and I'm going to do this. I am. I would like to bring myself back to Greece and then practice. That would be lovely, especially Santorini and Mykonos. I love those areas. But anyways, one of these days we're going to get back there, right? So let's get our guest on here. There she is. I'm going to try it. I had it when I said it.
You're close.
I can't talk today. I can't speak any language today. So there you go. Okay, help me out.
Athanasia Houvarda.
Athanasia Houvarda. Did I do it?
Excellent. That's a
Okay.
very
Don't
good,
ask me
Tina.
to do it again.
Thank you for trying. I know it's a very difficult name, and actually most people, they don't say Athanasia, they say Anastasia. Anastasia is more common, so they use that more. It's easier, I don't know, but it's a totally different name, totally different meaning, because there's a meaning behind my name and from Anastasia and Athanasia. Athanasia, okay. It means immortality in Greek.
Oh, isn't that cool?
It's a beautiful name.
That's beautiful, yes. And it sounds so pretty when you say it. Not so nice when I say it, but hey, it's all good. So our wonderful guest is, of course, from Greece. I'd love to go there, but she's actually in Thunder Bay, Ontario. What a switch from Greece to Thunder Bay. You couldn't be any further north.
I know. But it's lovely here where I am. It's a beautiful area, and I'm very fortunate to be here. It's beautiful, just beautiful. Different in winter, but still beautiful.
A real change. Our wonderful guest, Anastasia. I'm not sure if I said that right when it came out.
You said the other name.
I said yeah. It's the Canadian problem.
It's everywhere. Don't worry. Athanasia.
Athanasia is a podcaster and, of course, a beautiful artist with her photos. I don't know how to. There we go, right there. It's so funny when I put my hand up in the screen. It looks like this fake arm. It's like this magnifying huge arm that goes across the screen. She is a beautiful artist, as you can see, a road safety advocator, of course, for all of this, and a pastry chef from Greece. I can't wait to hear your story. Our listeners are going to be blown away from this story, and I really want you to listen with both your ears today, because it's quite an incredible story of how she has been able to take something so negative into something so positive. And the courage and the bravery that you have taken to come on these shows is unbelievable. And I have to give you credit where credit is due. It's really beautiful how you're trying to help other people. So thank you very, very much. And where did it all start for you?
Thank you, first of all, for having me over. And when you say about strength, I think the message that I want to bring out through sharing my experience is what gives me the drive to, be strong and share what actually happened on that day. So what happened, and we'll drive right in instead of diving.
Yes.
It was a summer. It was a beautiful, beautiful summer day in Greece. And for those people that have been to Greece, they know how hot and warm and beautiful it is during summer. So it was August 5th. And I was working. I was running two businesses one business with two shops when I was 23 years old at the time. And I went to work in that Sunday morning. I did some cake decorating that I had to do for weddings, and I finished everything because I was so excited. I wanted to go to the beach. It was so warm, so hot. And me and my husband, I was married at the time, we made plans with another couple, very close friends of ours, to go to the beach. So we made all those plans on Wednesday. Actually, they were at my place at Wednesday having dinner. And then we said, oh, yeah, why not spend Sunday at the beach? It's going to be warm. We can take some time off. We deserve. We're working all day. So that's what we planned, to go to the beach, relax, have fun, enjoy ourselves, and then return home. I was 23 years old at the time. My husband was 26. And the couple, my friends, Sotiri and Effie, they were 26 and 29. And they also had 2 children, very young children at the time. So Sunday came. As I said, I went to work. I did all my work. I was happy, excited. Went to my place, got changed, put my swimming stuff on and everything ready. So there we were, 4 young people, 2 couples.
Yeah.
We got in the car. It was a 3-door vehicle. I don't know how you call them here in Canada. That's how we call them in Greece anyway. So there were not doors for the passengers at the back. My husband was driving. I was sitting beside him as a co-driver, and the passengers' seats were my friends. Behind me was my friend Sotiri, and next to him, his wife, Effie. It was around noon. We started about 11:30, I think. So we headed to the beach, and it's a lovely place. It's called Chalkidiki, and it's very popular during summer. Everyone from my hometown, and my hometown is Thessaloniki, and it's over 1 million people. And everyone is going to Chalkidiki during the weekend. So you can imagine how busy the roads were, very heavy traffic. So at some point, my husband decided to change his route and go through a country road, which was more narrow, and it was full of turns, And that's what we did. But he was speeding. And I remember it was a beautiful day. Like, we were so happy. We were chatting in the car, and I can remember every single moment. And we were just so excited. And the thing is that they were supposed to have their children with them that day. So that was our original plan. They would drive with their car, with the children, and we would drive our car, and we'll both go to the same destination, of course.
Oh, gosh.
And then they decided, no, let's have one totally free day off children, off work, just to enjoy ourselves. And they decided not to take the children. And that's how the decision came. So we drove all 4 of us in one vehicle. So as we were driving that country road, and he was speeding. My husband, he was speeding at the time. And, at that age, 23 years old, you don't see what's coming.
Well, you don't have the same fear, right? Don't you find that?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you're a lot more, I don't know if you gain the wisdom or what it is, but you have more fear and you're not so risky.
Well, you actually are risky without knowing that you're taking this risk.
Yeah.
You don't realize. And that's how I feel today. Going back to that day, I'm thinking that I could see that he was speeding. Why wasn't I
saying
something before? Because I couldn't foresee the future with with his driving habits, if I can say that. So I remember that he was speeding, and I did get scared at some point. And I knew that my friend Effie, she was scared of speeding, and I asked him to slow down. I did ask him once to slow down. And he did for a while, but he didn't really. Just hitting the brakes when I told him it's not enough. You need to actually stop, slow down completely, and just, if you have to stop your car, just stop your car and give yourself some, a few minutes
time
to get out of that situation that you are, you just take that route of speeding and you don't stop. It's like, I don't know how to explain it really, but I asked
But when
him
you're
to
in the
slow
moment,
down.
it's Of course you do it differently now, right? If when you know, but
The lessons
you don't
learned.
know.
Yeah. So as we were driving, I asked him to slow down. He did for a while, but then he picked up the same speed, started overtaking every vehicle that was in front of him. He just wanted to reach this destination faster. I don't know. And I remember we were laughing because all four of us, we were basically not thinking
Yeah.
that
Well, you're
something
just
might
having
happen.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember at some point I turned around. I was laughing with Effie. We're chatting and laughing, and as I was looking at her, I felt the tension. I felt the car because he hit the brakes, but you can sense that something is not right. And I did, and what proved it even more was Effie's face, because she could see what was coming. I had my head turned. By the time I turned my head, I saw that there was another vehicle coming to our direction, and then he turned the steering wheel, and because he was speeding so much and he panicked and didn't know how to react, he lost control of the car, and we ended up falling into a ditch that was about 6-7 meters high, and the car flipped. It did some turns.
Did you go down the passenger side or the driver's side of the ditch?
The passenger side. So we didn't crash with any other vehicle. He turned the wheel to avoid the car because he was in the middle of overtaking another vehicle. So he was halfway overtaking another vehicle, and then he saw another car coming from the opposite side because there was turns. So he was speeding. He wasn't supposed to overtake the car because it wasn't, there were rules that you were not supposed to overtake any vehicle at that particular
Section.
road section, exactly. And the visibility was not good at all. So he did 3 things that he shouldn't do that day, on that moment. On that date, he did more. But on that moment, there were these 2 things that he shouldn't: speeding and overtaking that vehicle, because the visibility was not good.
Right.
So we saw the other car coming. He turned the steering wheel. We fell into the ditch. And I remember having the seatbelt, because I was wearing my seatbelt, literally crashing on my chest. I could feel the tension on my chest. I didn't realize that the car flipped because everything happened so fast. I didn't even know that the car flipped. But
were you upside down at the time?
No,
when you landed?
We landed
upright.
Upright, yes. But the doors, we couldn't open the doors because they were jammed from the car flipping. And with the moment the car hit the ground, it caught fire. And it was a warm day, as I said. The windows were closed because we had the air condition on. And once the car hit ground, it caught fire in the cabin of the vehicle. It wasn't around the vehicle. It was in the cabin of the vehicle. The doors wouldn't open. Everywhere. It's like it was surrounding us. I can feel. I can still remember the feelings that I had. Everything went silent, and it wasn't because I couldn't hear anything, but when the fire is, that sound that the fire has, and it was sucking up the air. So it was like I was diving deep into the sea.
Water.
Yeah, I wish I was, but I wasn't.
Yeah,
no one was, and so there we were, four young people burning alive in that vehicle because we were trapped. And I tried to open my door. My door wouldn't open. We were lucky, if you can call that luck. I guess we were. The driver's door opened, finally. I don't know how much time it took. Probably a few minutes, not even minutes.
It seemed like forever.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can feel the heat. I was just panicking. I was screaming. I remember that. And I couldn't even hear my voice, Tina. I couldn't even hear my voice from from what I was experiencing that
Mhm.
moment.
Was
So
anyone else screaming? Do you remember?
I couldn't hear anything.
No.
I couldn't hear anything. And I don't know if it was the flames and the sound of the flames, or if it was my panic, or I don't know. But
Or the
I
shock.
remember screaming. I remember screaming, and I just couldn't hear anything. So the driver got out of the car, and then my friend Effie, that was sitting behind him, she got out after him. And then I crawled over to his side and I got out too. But as I was crawling, I tried to reach my friend that was behind me.
Her husband?
Her husband, yeah, he wasn't moving. So I got out of the car, and that was it. He never made it out. Realizing that, even to this day, it's the
Yes, and because you want to try and get them out, but
it was
did anyone else stop? Did anyone see anything to help or anything?
well, vehicles that were on the same, on the same road with us, they did stop. And where we actually crashed, there was a restaurant, type of restaurant there with a pool, and it was busy. People were there, so people ran to our direction very, very quick. And I remember then when I got out of the car, I was still in flames, so I rolled on the grass. It was like I didn't even know that I had to do that. It was just response,
A
my
reaction.
first response. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I rolled on the grass, and then someone came and picked me up. I remember I was picked up, and they took me away from the car from fear of having the vehicle explode.
Blow up.
Yeah, which doesn't happen. It's not like the movies. It doesn't happen like the movies.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like the movies, and I say that to schools when I go and deliver a speech to raise road safety awareness. You see in the movies that the vehicles are blowing into 1,000 pieces, and then the driver will just get out of the car and walk.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen this way. What it does, it blows your life into 1,000 pieces. That it does.
So your husband at the time, he got out, but was he on the ground as well? Do you remember?
No, he was running around the vehicle, and even when I was still in the vehicle, he was outside trying to get my door to open. And I have that memory, and it was at that moment that he was trying to get my door to open. He was outside from my side trying to get my door to open, and I was taking off my seatbelt. I was kicking the door and I couldn't open it. It was then that Effie got out after him, and then I just figured out, like, it was a response. I just crawled over and tried to get out myself.
And how was she? Was she just laying on the ground, or did she crawl out? And
I didn't see her first moments out of the vehicle. When they picked me up to take me away, the people that picked me up, they placed me just a few feet away from her. So she was already taken by people, I guess. And, they were trying to get us away from the car. And it was a horrific moment because I remember we're both sitting on the ground. My husband was running around the car trying to get to my friend that was still in there. People were trying to keep him away. It's graphic, and I think like I'm explaining every detail, but I think it's very important for people to listen the first moments, because they hear there's a crash and people are injured, and they see them with their injuries, and it's very heartbreaking, of course. But those first moments, when reality hits, that's the worst moments. That's the worst moments. And I think if people listen to those first moments, maybe they can put themselves in our position and understand how severe it can be, a car accident.
yeah.
So he was running around. We're both sitting, me and my friend were sitting about 10 meters away from the car, and I was a few feet away from her. And I turned around and I looked at her, And I still remember how she looked. She was gray, no colors. It was like white gray. You know, when you get burned, that's how you look. I didn't know it at the moment.
Yeah.
And she was looking directly at the car. She knew her husband was in there, totally shocked. And she was like a white
A
piece of
zombie.
paper with no words on, just blank stare. And I told her, will you ever forgive him? That was the words that I said to her. Will you ever forgive him? And of course there was no response. She wouldn't. She was totally shocked. And yeah, it was a very difficult, horrific, not difficult. It just, I don't wish anyone to go through what she went through, and then what we went through as well.
Yes. Yes, because it's not necessarily your husband sitting in that car, but it was hers, but it's also your friend. So
the pain is, you can't even describe with words the pain that I felt then, and I can't even describe what she felt. And it's very sad. He passed away right away with the impact because he had head injuries from what we were told in
from the front, from
later date. He wasn't wearing his seatbelt. So he had his injuries were fatal from the moment we crashed, and that's why he wasn't moving when we were tried to get out of the car. And my friend Effie, she passed away too, a few weeks later.
A few weeks of her burns or of other things?
Of her burns.
Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry. That's horrible. Because you wouldn't think the fire would be in the back that quickly, would you? But it happens, like you said, it just swarmed you.
Like the cabin of the vehicle, any vehicle, is just small. Fire will surround you. There's no way you can get away from it.
Yeah, that's quite an amazing. And you know, when I had mine, it wasn't so much what I saw like you, but it was more of the smell. You know, the smell of the engine, of the gas and the engine, and and the powder from the airbags. It's very eerie. It's a very eerie feeling and scent.
Well, I don't even remember how airbags popping. You know, they did, but I don't remember because everything happened so fast, and then you didn't even have 1 second in the vehicle not reacting because we had to go out to get out.
You had to get out.
We're burning alive, Tina. It was like, we just had to get out.
Yeah.
So smells. I remember just the sound. I remember that. I remember that I was screaming and I couldn't hear my voice. That's what. It's very, to me, to these days. How is it possible not to listen to my voice?
Yeah, that's amazing. Did you get all your burns when you rolled on the ground? Did that all get under control?
The fire was out. The fire was out when, yes, but the injuries were so severe. I ended up with 74% burns all over my body, hands, face, arms, legs, feet. Everything was burned. And
your hair?
My husband, my hair, I guess they were burned as well. The next time, after my injuries, the next time I saw myself in the mirror, I didn't have any hair. So, but they shaved my head to get the skin off my head to use it in other parts of my body. So we went, for skin grafts. So what they do is you get burned and they need skin grafts to cover the part of your body that was injured. To get that skin, they try to get the skin, the healthy skin that's left on your body. And, well, my head wasn't burned. That's why they used my head, the skin of my head twice, from my back once, from my tummy 3 times, my thigh, I don't remember even how many times, over 10, I think. Any part of my body that wasn't burned, they were scraping the skin off, so they can use it on the parts that were injured.
That's really amazing work that they can do for that, isn't it?
It is. It is like medicine. It's
Amazing.
amazing, just amazing how they can save lives, but they can't save every life, and they couldn't save my friend's life.
Mhm.
She was severely injured on her chest because of the clothes that she was wearing. And the thing with burns is, people might not know, it's not actually the burns that will put your life in danger. It's getting infected, first of all, the infections. And what the infections do is they make your body overwork, and eventually the organs, they can't handle
The
fighting
extreme.
to stay, to keep you alive, and that's how you end up losing your life.
Did she have her seatbelt on then? Is that why she got out, was
I
able to get out? Do you know?
I think she had her seatbelt on. Yes.
So that's why.
Only my friend that was sitting behind me didn't have his seatbelt on.
Yeah. So that's something to tell people.
Absolutely. Always wear your seatbelt. Always. You never know.
Yeah.
You just never know what can happen in one split second, and that's all it takes. That's all
Yeah.
it takes. And the title of your book, actually, it's an expression that I use often too. In a blink of an eye. That's all it
Yeah.
takes.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
It's like when you looked behind and then looked forward, it's the blink of your eye, it just changed. So what about your husband, who is your now
He
ex-husband?
was
But
he was injured as well, but not as severe as myself and Effie. He had burns. But if we mention numbers, that might help our listeners understand. I had 74% of burns. Effie had 68%. And my husband had 44, but out of this 44%, 22 was third degree, and 22 was second and first degree, which is like my face from my left side. It's second burns, second degree burns, and there's not much scarring there. But my right side, it's third degree, and you can see the scars more, so it's different.
was that the part where it was more from the car side?
Yeah, because the flames were around us. Basically, in the center of the vehicle, there were no flames. It was all around us.
Yeah. That's quite amazing, isn't it? How, if you could reenact something, how something actually happens, and because you can't see it.
Exactly. And we have to be, what I'm trying to get out there with my own podcast is that these accidents are preventable. If we drive safe, if we try to be safe, we can prevent all these accidents. Or these accidents, sometimes, of course, we can't prevent everything because we are not responsible and we don't know what the other person is doing. But the main point is that we are all safe drivers to reduce the accidents. But even when we are taking the right precautions and we are more aware, we can protect ourselves more.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can do right for yourself and hopefully limit a few of those accidents anyways, like you said, and be a better safe driver.
Yes, because we are responsible for ourselves, but we are responsible for everyone that moves around us as well.
Yes.
And
We don't
something
think
to keep
that,
in
though.
mind. Yeah, we don't. We should.
Well, you should. And I always thought too, you see it a lot with people in the left-hand turn lanes, and they turn in front of a car coming straight down. And I don't understand that, because the person coming straight down sees that in the intersection, Usually. I mean, sometimes you wouldn't. But I just don't understand why people take chances. And everyone's in a rush.
No, it's because we think that it won't happen to us.
Yeah.
We just think that it's not going to happen to us. Simple as that.
I say that all the time, everybody, are you Superman? No, but we think we are.
Yeah. And I say that we think that it's not going to happen to us. And I'm guilty of that because I thought the same. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It never crossed my mind that something this horrific can happen to me in one split second with one wrong move.
Yes.
I never thought.
And especially with your friends around as well, you just realize how precious life truly is. So after, their kids are at home, obviously, with what happens next after that? I'm sorry to have to bring that part up.
So we were taken to emergency burns unit in my hometown. And from then on, the difficult road to recovery started for me to recover. I recovered. Effie tried to recover. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it. And the doctors did whatever they could, but her injuries were so severe. And
were you able to talk to her in the hospital at all?
We were in intensive care. Like it was, we're all in intensive care. I was in the hospital for 3 months after my accident, having surgeries after surgeries, and on the 8th day, I stayed in my hometown for 8 days in the ICU, and then my mother, she found out that they had the undertakers on hold for myself and for Effie. And when she realized that, because one of them that was informed to be close by in case the families needed something, happened to be my cousin. So they met in the hospital, and when they were discussing why they were, at the hospital, and they realized that he was there for me because they were waiting for me to pass away, to not make it, then she just said, okay, I have to do something. And on her own responsibility, she made all the arrangements, and I was moved in the UK for my therapy. So that basically saved my life, because they had the knowledge and they had the tools and all the equipment that they needed. And Greek doctors, they're good. They have the knowledge, but they don't have the right equipment. And that was a new word. That was a new word that we were taken into. It was like open only for 10 days. So we're very, very severe injuries that they couldn't handle. So I was airlifted and taken to the UK, and that's where I had my therapy and my whole recovery and surgeries. And I was in an induced coma for some days, and I couldn't speak to anyone. I had a trachea on. There was no communication. I was just trying to survive.
Yeah.
It took 7 weeks to have the doctor say to my mom that she's going to make it. 7 weeks.
Wow. And you're just basically praying every week too.
Every day, every hour.
Every day, all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I have to give your mom credit for staying beside your side.
Oh, yeah, she's a superhero, super mom.
Yeah.
And my dad, both of them, my whole family, they were so supportive, and they were, just knowing that they were there waiting for me, and they gave me the strength that I needed. They were so supportive, all of them. Yeah. It was a tough decision for my mom and dad to take that day on their, the doctors, they didn't give the green light to my mom to take me away. They told her, if you take her away, it's whatever happens, it's on you. It's on you. But she knew when she met my cousin that was the undertaker that was there waiting, she knew that she had to take me.
It's that choice or take a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough decisions.
So your friend Afi stayed there, and that's where she stayed, in the Greek hospital?
She stayed there. She was more severely injured. Although the numbers are different of the injuries, she had more burns on her torso. So her organs were more affected. And maybe this is a good opportunity to say how important clothes are, because I was wearing a cotton dress, and she was wearing synthetic clothes, and that made a difference. Yeah. That made a lot of difference when it comes to healing.
Yes, and I understand in house fires and things like that, it's important what kind of pajamas you have on, or the sheets on your bed, and how all of that burns, less or more depending on what you're around. Very interesting.
Everything matters. Everything, mm-hmm. From clothing, from every single moment, all the decisions that we make, we don't know, but they might make a difference when the time comes. All the little decisions.
Yes, absolutely. And after that, you survived beautifully, amazingly, and you.
It took me very. It took me a while, Tina. A few years to. I stayed in the UK, away from my family, away from my husband, my home, my business. My mom was there 24/7 next to me. She was actually my caregiver. I had to have someone next to me. I had to relearn everything from start. I had to relearn how to hold the fork and the spoon to eat, how to walk. I was in a wheelchair for months before I was able to stand up. Doctors were saying that they were going to amputate my right hand. They were going to amputate my right foot. They were going to amputate my nose. There was an amazing team behind my recovery, that they are responsible for my recovery. Actually, I want to thank them. It's Broomfield Hospital, in the St. Andrew's Hospital in Broomfield in the UK. And I just want to take this moment and say a big thank you to all the medical staff there that were by my side and gave me this second chance in life.
Well, it was a
difficult process.
Mm-hmm. It's really amazing when you get a wonderful team like that.
Yes, and I have to say also that I had one of my guests on my podcast was one of the nurses that looked after me in the ICU 20 years ago. Yes.
Oh, wow.
And it was amazing to have her there on my podcast. It was amazing.
Oh, wow. I'll have to listen to that one. I will have your podcast links down below, so no worries there, people, for all of our listeners. No, don't worry. We will make sure your podcast is there to listen to other stories. Yeah, and then you went back home to Greece eventually.
I went eventually 2 years later. When I returned home. And it was, as I said, a long process, the recovery. And I was still having surgeries. To this day, I still need surgeries. But last year, I had one booked for March, but because of the pandemic, we canceled it. But I still need to do another surgery. It's a big surgery, actually. It will take me about 2 months to recover from that.
Oh.
And then after the 2 months, I'll probably need another 6 months of precise things that I need to follow every day to fully recover. So it's a process.
Wow.
But yeah, it took 2 years, and then I was going back and forth to the UK, having more operations and trying to repair my hands because they're very injured, and I don't have full movement anymore. I can still use them. Like, I did a lot of work on my own to recover as best as I could, so I can win back my life. I had to leave. Life is precious, and we have to live it and enjoy it as much as we can.
The way you are.
Yes, I'm fortunate. I consider myself, although I went through this, very fortunate, because I can see I can see how it could end up like my friends. And
Mhm.
to this day, it's very difficult to accept what happened to them.
Yes, absolutely. It's like a mother, you don't care so much about what happened to yourself. It's what happened to your kids or your friends for that matter. So it's the same kind of feeling. So what happened with them? What happened? Do you still have any relationship with the kids?
Unfortunately, no. It's when you lose someone, and it's unfair. It's so unfair. So obviously, the family doesn't want to have anything to do with us, of course, and I can totally understand that. So we went through a very difficult 5 years, maybe 6 years period with court cases, and because he was responsible, my husband, and like all the court cases, it takes forever to end.
Yeah.
So I think it was about 6 or 7 years after the accident that finally the court cases came to an end, and my husband had to go to jail because of this accident. And it's another story. It doesn't end. It doesn't end. And having going through a court case for an accident that you didn't cause it on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
although you were responsible, people they don't go to jail, at least not in Greece. They don't go to jail. But in our case, he didn't show any remorse, so he continued to overspeed when he
Oh,
was driving, and there were proof about that. So that's why he ended up in jail. And I don't know if he still our marriage just collapsed, and it wasn't because of the accident itself, but what the accident brought in our
to life.
life later. Yes, that caused our marriage to collapse, and I'm very well with that. At the beginning, it was very difficult because of all my insecurity and all these different feelings that I had, and I didn't know. I lost my identity. I didn't know where I was going.
Yeah.
Life just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
It had nothing. It was nothing like I used to know it before
Yeah.
the accident. Nothing.
Absolutely. The people
So
around you as well as yourself.
we went through. I went through an emotional roller coaster,
Yeah.
trying to comprehend how to how this happened and how I can continue living. It was very difficult in so many levels, emotionally, physically, mentally. I felt I'm still feeling kind of responsible for what happened, because he was my husband that was driving. It was our vehicle, and I didn't say anything, and so it's very difficult to
Yeah.
accept everything that happened. So
Yeah.
we don't have any. I don't have any contact with the family. I wish I could, but the children are now grown ups, and I hope they're well as
Mm-hmm.
much as they can be after living without their parents. They were left orphans, and they were only 4 and 8 years old, two
Yeah.
boys. So horrific, just horrific. And I don't want anyone to go through what they went through.
Yes.
They shouldn't, because
No.
these accidents can be prevented. So they shouldn't
Yeah.
go through what they went through.
Yes. Absolutely. Did what did you find afterwards then when you started your rehabilitation? Look at you now, you're out talking about it. You're living your best life. I think, you're remarried.
I'm remarried, yes. I'm now in Canada. Well, I tried to go back to work after my I recovered kind of from the injuries, but going back and forth to the hospital, having operation after surgery, and going through the process of recovering again from the new surgery. That took another 3-4 months to recover. It wasn't easy to get back to work.
Yeah.
And then I was diagnosed with cancer as well. And
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it's like a domino effect, right? If something goes wrong, everything goes wrong. So I was diagnosed with cancer about 4 years after my accident, 4 years and a few months after my accident. And I had to have 4 surgeries in less than a year for that. I am good. I'm healthy. I'm very fortunate again, because I had no symptoms. I was just lucky that I found it out that I had tumor. Anyway, I'm good. But that was like a wake-up call for me. And it was when I was going through that process that I decided I can't be with that man anymore, because I saw more bells ringing that, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just
I talked about that yesterday's live show, about how you have these different people on your shoulder. And sometimes this one will say, yeah, Tina, it's all fine. You can do it. And this one says, don't try. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I don't know about little people, but my inner voice was saying me, oh, you can't make it on your own. You need to be where you are now. And then just one day I just flipped the switch and I said, no, enough is enough. That's it. And I found happiness again. Just
it was magical.
Like a huge burden lifted off my shoulders when I made that decision, and I didn't even know that I would feel that way.
And the universe kept on hitting you with more and more and saying, are you going to wake up yet? Are you going to wake up?
I finally did. It took me a while, and I did. I lost a lot of things, but I did.
Yes. I don't know why we have to lose things to gain.
Lessons. It's lessons.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it's what happens. It's life, actually. This is life. And the main thing is to learn from our lessons and from the mistakes that we made, so we don't repeat them.
Yes.
That's what I want with the podcast, my podcast, to share my message so people learn from my mistakes, from other people's mistakes that they did, because we're sharing a lot of real stories.
Yes.
And maybe motivate them to not make our story their story. So these mistakes are not repeated.
Yeah, because you wouldn't want to have to do that one over again, would you?
Oh, no. Even I don't wish, even on my worst enemy, and I don't have any enemies anyway, but no one should experience what my family, what my friends' families experienced, and then what I experienced. No one.
And the strength of your mom.
Yeah.
She's the real hero on this, isn't she?
She's a survivor as well. Look, like watching your child in the situation that I was. I don't know how she did it. Thank you, Mom. Thank you. I love you.
Yes. Can you imagine how hard that would be?
Yeah. I can only imagine. I don't want to feel it anywhere, ever.
Yes, absolutely. Nobody does, that's for sure. So you have your podcast, and now you're doing some art with your kind of weird
injured hands. Injured. Well, the thing is that when we were still in the hospital for my recovery, the doctors were saying to my mom, you have to make her use her hands, because I was going through a denial process. I didn't want to do anything at some point. And they kept on saying, she needs to use her hands. She needs to use her hands. So my mom, she's an artist herself, amazing artist. She makes lovely paintings. She took me one day and she got me to a hobby shop and trying to find something that would keep me occupied so I can fix stuff with my hands and use them. And I ended up with canvases and paintbrushes and colors, acrylics and stuff. And that's how I started painting. And what I found was that it wasn't only helping me physically because I was using my hands, but it did help me mentally and emotionally because it was soothing me. Although it
Mhm.
was painful and it was hurting using my hands, it did help me with my emotions.
With
So
your inner soul.
it kind of like it took everything out of my mind,
Mhm.
and I could leave the moment without thinking, and it was a lot to take in what I was dealing with at
Yes.
that moment. So art, it was my therapy. It was my therapy after my physiotherapy at the hospital. So that's why I continue. I just love creating. And what really helped me most was, I couldn't use my hands, so I felt worthless. I felt like my life ended. What can I do? I can't even get dressed on my own. I can't even feed myself. I can't even do the basics. I needed help
Yeah.
for everything. And then with a struggle, but I did, from nothing, I created something. And that gave me the strength to continue day by day, day by day. And that's how I won back my life, because art did help me
That's
to
beautiful.
accept that it happened, but you can still create stuff. So move on.
And create beautiful things. What do
Thank
you
you.
like to specialize drawing?
Trees. I love trees. I love trees, and I have also a collection that it's my story through art, that I have painted a few pieces that they represent my story. So it's
Oh, that's
interesting, and
nice.
I hope
Yeah,
people can go on my webpage and check it out.
absolutely. That's beautiful. Um, and trees, do you like flowers too? Do you like doing flowers or ocean
Flowers.
or anything?
Oh, I love doing landscape. Yeah, I love everything. I do portraits, I do animals, I do landscapes, trees, anything that inspires me. It could be a rock, anything that I can find that it's something that gives me that drive to pick up my pencils or my brushes, that inspires me. Yes, but
Mhm.
trees are very close to my heart. But I do all sort of stuff, and people can see different stuff on my webpage.
Oh, cool. I think some of those wonderful Greek architecture that they have there would be awesome too.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be
It's
fun.
yes, Greece. It has some pretty nice designs that you can use for art.
Hmm. And colors.
Lots of blue and white, like our flag.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's very beautiful. What would you like to? It's quite the story, everybody. I just feel like I just fall right into the story, like you're reading it. It's very beautiful. Well, the story is beautiful, but your life was not so beautiful for a while, but it is now, and you have a new husband,
Yeah.
and I'm so happy for you.
Yes, he's also a burn survivor, and he's a workplace safety speaker. So he also got his burns from an accident that happened in his while he was working. So he's trying to raise awareness on that. Like, we need to be cautious. We need to be aware of the dangers. We need to put our safety and the safety of others
Hmm.
first.
Yes,
So avoid all these accidents that can be prevented, because
yes,
most of the accidents can be prevented. So that's the main thing. That's what I want the listeners to take away from our conversation. Those accidents that we can plan so
yeah,
they don't happen, and
yeah,
we take all the safety measures that we need. Don't speed. Don't text while you drive. Don't drink when you're going to drive. Just be aware of what you have to do. Drive to get from A to B safe, not from life to death.
yes. Isn't that the truth? Because you can't help others, people around you, but you can help yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. And just
Yes.
being, if we are taking consideration our safety, we will be, we will, be aware of the safety of all the other people that are moving around us, whether
Yes.
it's on the road, whether it's in the workplace. Just safety has to be our main
Number one.
focus. Yeah.
Right. Did you have any final messages that you'd like to give the listeners?
I just want them to enjoy life, predict what the future can, as much as they can, for those little things that we can predict, and be prepared to for all the unexpected things that might happen, and just try to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Things
Yes.
can happen in one split second. If they can remember that, I think they
Yes.
can also predict and be prepared.
Especially when you're younger. And I guess even when you're older, it doesn't seem to matter. Sometimes everyone's just in a hurry and in a rush, and
That's so
you
true.
do weird things. And it's like when you come home and you put your keys in a different place that you don't normally put them, you lose
Yes.
them. And it's all of these little things that remind you, maybe if something isn't working out, maybe you shouldn't be going, or maybe, strange things are kind of telling us all the time. And
Yep, that is true what you say.
Mhm.
Just I think it's difficult for the young people to plan and be aware, but I also believe that listening to real stories from people, and maybe just plant the idea that, okay, I'm not Superman, as you said before. I have to be more cautious when I'm doing some stuff, because we hear all the day, every day, because I follow road safety, of course, and I'm a member of many groups.
Yeah.
Every day I hear about accidents. And the sad thing is that people from their early 20s are the most people affected by destructive driving and speeding, and all that stuff that we do, and we never thought that it would harm us,
Anything would
but they
happen.
do.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
risk. Yeah.
Yeah, the risk is
Wow,
big.
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I don't want to end it. I don't want to end our show, because your story is just so heartfelt that it is truly a raw conversation today. Because thank you for being courageous and brave and coming out and telling others. It's truly beautiful and very healing for people.
I just hope that people that are listening learn something, and that will keep them safe in the future.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming on the show today. It's that time again, guys. I can't believe it. Where's the time gone? Wow. Expect the unexpected, because you never know what tomorrow may bring. I hope that we've inspired you and motivated you, and given you some words of wisdom from our guest. She has so many stories to tell. You're going to have to write a book.
It's one of my plans. I'm working on it.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. Well, so thank you. Thank you so very much. I coach each and every one all the time on the risk of emergency preparedness. And because we don't get out of this life alive, everybody, we don't. And it's how we manage those storms that hit us. It's how we manage those, and how we can move on to the next storm. Because sometimes we have one storm, sometimes we have many. And it's how we look after that and deal with the stresses and try to eliminate the unpreparedness, because believe me, it sure helps when you're better prepared for things to occur. So thank you for coming out to our show today. It was beautiful. And Thank you for your honesty and your storytelling.
Thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity to share my story.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure all her links are down below for our listeners. And thank you from Thunder Bay, Ontario. What a change from Greece. I still can't fathom what that must feel like, going from one hot to cold area. But yeah, I hear it is a beautiful area. It's very, if you like the forest and the green, and which you do.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful, and it's not that hard. And it is warm. We did have 30 Celsius last week.
Yes, it gets hot and humid in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so thank you, listeners. Thank you for all coming out to our show today. Thank you for watching. And I always end our podcast and our show with Carol Burnett, because she's such a beautiful comedian. I'm so glad that we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say, so long. So long, everyone. Stay safe. Be kind. And if you are listening to the show right now and you have someone in your mind that you could reach out to today and tell them how much you love them and how much you care, please do that, because you don't know what tomorrow may bring. So thank you, everyone. Lots of love. Stay safe. Bye for now.